Hello there, Math 1010 students. It's Mrs. Scholes here, and guess what? It's another test week for you. We're in week 9 of the class, and yes, it's a test week. So here is the information you need to know about your test. All right, the test window is open from Wednesday through Sunday, so that gives you 5 days to get both attempts of your test completed. It cannot be submitted late or outside of this testing window unless you contact me in advance with some very urgent emergency situation. All right. You guys have been doing great with this so far, so I'm not worried about you. The test is 16 questions long and it covers all of the sections from chapters 5 and 6. There's no time limit to it, and you do get 2 attempts as long as you have all of your homework assignments completed from chapter 5 and 6 with an 80% or better. If you don't have 80% or better on all of your chapter 5 and 6 MyLab math assignments, then that second attempt will be locked. Okay, you have to get those done, and then the second attempt will unlock. That's it. You may use a non-graphing handheld calculator. Make sure that when you do the Proctorio diagnostic that you show what calculator you're using in the video so I can see. Also, you can use the Math 1010 formula sheet. It has to be printed. You cannot use your notes. So if you take notes in like a notebook sitting on your desk or something, just make sure that you have it opened to a blank page and show me that it's a blank page. And do not look at your notes. All right, that is disallowed. And then make sure you stow your phone away. I should not see a phone during the duration of your test. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do now for the remaining time is just show you the most commonly missed questions from different sections of chapter 5 and 6. So from chapter 5, this is one of the most commonly missed questions. And I think it's this positive exponents part here at the end that throws people off. So it gives you this expression. Notice that we are multiplying terms here, and it says to write the result using positive exponents. So for me, to keep my work kind of organized, I like to group the like terms together to be multiplied. So what I mean by that is I'm going to put the numbers next to each other. So we've got a -2 and a -5. Remember, multiplication is commutative, so I can move things around without changing the answers. Then I have an r to the -3rd power. I don't have any other r's. So I'm just going to do r to the -3rd. And then we have an s to the -2. And then we have a t right here with no power. And then a t to the -4. All right, so I just like grouping them just to make my life a little bit simpler. And it helps me check to make sure that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. So then I multiply terms that can be multiplied. So -2 times -5 is a +10. R to the -3rd, there's no other r variable, so I can't multiply that by anything else. So that's just going to be an r to the -3rd power. Same with s to the -2 power. There's no other s terms, so I'm just going to rewrite that as s to the -2. And then we do have 2 t terms. So this is t to the 1st power times t to the -4th power. Remember, when you're multiplying terms that have the same base but exponents on them, you add the exponents. Okay, be so careful with that. We add the exponents. So 1 plus a -4 is -3. So this is t to the -3 power. All right, so this would be my answer, except it says to write the result using positive exponents. I have a whole ton of negative exponents. Now remember, to make exponents from negative to positive, they have to change from the numerator to the denominator, or vice versa. So here they are in the numerator. We are going to move them to the bottom of a fraction to make them positive. So what that looks like is we will have a 10 in the numerator, and then our r term goes to the denominator and can be positive. Same with our s term, can move to the denominator and become positive, and same with t. So this would be our final answer, our final product written with positive exponents. All right. Then from chapter 6, the most commonly missed questions from chapter 6 have to do with factoring special kind of polynomials, binomials, and the difference or sum of cubes. So this is a very commonly missed problem. So it says factor the given binomial completely And my tip for you is if it says that it's a binomial, then look at your formula sheet because there's probably a formula for how to factor binomials. And there is. This is an example of a difference of squares. Difference meaning subtraction, and then squares meaning the 49 and the 81 are perfect square numbers. So I'm going to begin by rewriting these terms as squares. So 49x squared can be rewritten as 7x to the second power, right? Because then we would distribute the 2, that would be 49, and x squared. Yeah, okay. And then the 81 can be rewritten as 9 to the second power, or 9 squared, right? Okay, when I rewrite it like this tells me what my A term and my B term are for my formula. Okay, so I'm going to write these down. A is 7x and B is 9. All right, my formula for the difference of squares says that this factors into the form A plus B and A minus B. So that's my form for factoring this. And here's my A and B. So that means this is 7x plus 9 and 7x minus 9. All right, that's it. Those are my factors, or that's how this binomial would be factored. And I would encourage you to check your answer. Remember, you can check your answer just by redistributing these and making sure that you end up back where you started, okay? If you end up back where you started, then you know you factored it correctly. All right, so that would be our answer for that one. Careful with those factoring binomials. And then our last example of a commonly missed question is factoring the sum of 2 cubes. So again, if the instructions say factor the sum of 2 cubes, you don't have to remember how to do that. It's on your formula sheet. It's down there at the bottom of the first column. There's a sum of cubes. Sum because it's adding, and cubes because 8 and 1 can be written as cubes. They are perfect cube numbers. So let's go ahead and do that to start. So 8x cubed could be rewritten as 2x quantity cubed, right? 2 to the third power is 8, and x to the third power is x to the third, okay? Then we have a plus, and then 1 can be rewritten as a cube, just like 1 to the third power, like so. So writing it like this helps me identify what A and B are for my formula. So A is 2x and B is 1. Now I need to look at my formula to know how to factor a sum of cubes. So the formula for this, I don't even have it memorized. It's A plus B, and then we do parentheses, A squared minus AB plus B squared. Okay, that's our form for factoring this, and we just need to replace A and B with 2x and 1. So let's do that now. So A is 2x plus B is 1. Okay, that's looking good so far. Now in this one, we have an A squared right here, so I'm going to make sure I substitute A in parentheses. So this is a 2x quantity squared. Then minus A times B, so 2x times 1. And then plus B squared. So we're going to do B in parentheses, which is 1 squared, and then close parentheses like that. So we have a little bit of simplifying to do here, right? So our first binomial is just fine. No simplifying for this one. But this can be simplified. 2x quantity squared means I have to distribute this square right here. This is the part that most students miss. 2 squared is 4, and x squared is x squared. Okay, that's the part that most students miss, so be so careful. Then we can multiply 2x times 1 is just 2x, so minus 2x, and then 1 squared is just 1 squared, so plus 1. Oops, and that should be a parenthesis. There we go. So that is how we factor the sum of 2 cubes. All right, so that's it. Sorry for the long video, but it's going to be really helpful. For the rest of your weekly task, you just have a few things about recognizing and identifying strategies for factoring polynomials. Good luck with that, and contact me if you need help with it. This is one of the harder tests that we have in this class, so if you want to study with me, then use that scheduling link. If you're feeling confident doing it on your own, then you're not required to meet with me. But it's a really, really good idea, especially on a hard week, a hard test like this. So that's it for me. Good luck, you guys, and we'll talk to you later.